Hey, welcome back for another workout in my dusty ass garage. You'll notice that I've switched over from weighted push-ups to weighted dips. Really, otherwise, the whole methodology of 3 descending sets or, reverse pyramid rest pause is exactly the same. The biggest difference between weighted push-ups and dips are, primarily one, I can attach a shit ton more weight to me since I have about 115 pounds in kettlebells sitting aside, in addition to the 75 pounds or so of weighted vests plus chains. And the second is huge, the stability factor of using bars instead of something like suspension trainer. Something else I've mixed it up with in general, and I heard myself talking in the last video about not using weighted calisthenics, and really that more applies to weighted pull-ups more than anything else. Weighted inverted rows are fucking money, man. Where I feel like there's very little risk. Now, unlike weighted pull-ups now, they actually feel really good. So regardless of what I'm doing pushing-wise, I always want to make these a mainstay going forward with just whatever amount of weight I've got on myself at that moment in time. Long term, I actually, and I may have mentioned this in a previous video, want to get the actual Kensui vest with weights that can attach to me, so I won't have to dangle a kettlebell around me like a weird third ball. But for now, this is the way we're doing this. I've just got that little 15-pounder kind of dangling off. The only thing that's really kind of a pain in the ass with this methodology, and this is because I haven't really used these bars for actual weighted dips before, is I don't really have an idea of how high up my knees are above the ground. Oh, it feels like I'm much closer to the ground than I actually am. Like, retroactively watching this, I've got a little bit more range of motion I think I can deal with, both with the kettlebell as well as my knees. You'll see I'm leaning forward to make it more chest dips and shoulder dips, and I know I do a lot of pressing, but I don't give two shits about my chest. I'm all team shoulders, man. So to stay more upright and make it more of a shoulders and triceps movement is predominantly what I actually want to do. And something I may experiment with going forward as well is sticking with the reverse pyramid and just dropping the rest pause. I don't really know how useful these rest pause sets actually are. They feel pretty goddamn good, but I mean, if I look at my second and third set, I'm squeezing out maybe 3 reps total for the second set and maybe 1 for the third. So how good actually are they? I don't know if it would behoove me more to do essentially multiple sets at the same weight before descending down, or doing one top set, multiple medium sets, and maybe multiple bottom sets just to fill in the extra volume, as opposed to, again, using the rest pause methodology to get in those, or really kind of eke in those extra little sets. The only real benefit to doing what I'm doing right now is, I'm not really taking 15 breaths in between sets necessarily. Because I've got some time in between the rows and the dips where I actually have to take on and off that little ball to the additional weight belt. So yeah, I mean, it's getting pretty rough at this point in time. I'm barely able to eke anything out. But like the other pressing, it's all feel extremely safe. I never really felt any trouble at my shoulders or anything like that, and if I fail, I just put my feet down. It's not a big deal. This is the last rest pause set before I rest a full 3 to 5 minutes and decrease the weight by about 20 pounds and restart. So it started as cold of a day it gets in Florida, but now we got the full-on belly out. We have for set number 2 because I got a little too sweaty for that dusty-ass hoodie I have. Other than that, I can't really fault anything on this workout. I switched over from weighted push-ups to weighted dips because that moment I started talking about in previous videos where it's like, yeah, you'll know when to switch movements. Well, I knew. I think I started this morning with doing just body weight push-ups, and it felt like shit. It's like, fine, okay, we reached our limit. I was about out of weight anyway, so we're just going to switch over to something else. And this ended up being the right call. Weighted dips felt fantastic. It's only my first time trying it in a couple of months, and starting off with a top set of 65 pounds felt pretty good. So it'd be really nice in the next couple of weeks to push it up to 100 pounds for reps. Whether I get there or not, we'll see. Again, I don't really count reps unless the total rep count per set, especially in that top set, is 5 or below, in which case, okay, it's probably a little too heavy for me to be doing what I'm doing, or if I stick with it another couple of weeks, I want to make sure the reps go up before I increase the weight. Otherwise, it's just going to increase the weight by 10 pounds every week until I stall out, or what happened in the push-ups end, where it's, yeah, my chest just is kind of done so with me. Something I'm not crazy about this setup, and maybe I can just kind of literally switch myself around, is my car window serves as kind of a quasi mirror. I don't like looking at myself when I'm doing this type of thing. It's a little weird, and the fact that it's not even a full mirror, it's just a little translucent, it kind of bothers me a little bit more than it actually should. So I may just flip myself around for the next session on this. Something I noticed when I was doing rows this time around is I'm not really getting a whole lot more reps on the first drop set than I am on the first one. Again, I don't know if I'm better off, instead of doing multiple rest pause sets, just doing like one big one, getting that volume in, and then doing multiple sets at that weight. Workouts might take a little bit longer if, dude, that was barely anything. That was nothing. Workouts might take a little longer, or I can just cut out the crap by doing the minor assistance, which I've got no intention of filming after the fact. Like later in the day, kind of intersped with all that body weight pulling, so I can get the meat and potatoes out of the way earlier on. So that thing I'm resting that kettlebell on is a keg, mostly filled with water. I'm really getting back more and more into conditioning stuff that is using my back as a lever, like just more basic deadlift stuff, kind of testing the waters to see how much my discs can handle. So far, quite a goddamn bit, which is great. But every single time I've thrown that keg into the mix, while it feels great while I'm doing it, there's always a period of time after where my back hates me. So I don't really want to tempt fate with it yet, but the entire long-term goal was to, like old-timey strongman, throw that thing around my lawn. Right now, if you kind of see the upper deck of that workbench, there's also a homemade medicine ball that I've been throwing outside, so that's another thing to kind of toy around with. So something else I'm noticing with, switching over to set 3 real quick. So this is last set, lightest set with plus 25 pounds. Always feels like a pretty dramatic difference between this one and the top set, but something else to note for this type of set is essentially I'm doing the same thing that I did for weighted push-ups after I've exhausted the 3 rest pause sets at weight, which means I'm going to drop to body weight only, but I'm going to do something a little additional here and add on resistance bands to make body weight even easier. So something about the weighted rows I got going on here, they feel like my legs are way elevated, but now that I'm looking at them, I'm barely parallel. I think instead of thinking about adding more weight longer term, I can just get more cinder blocks and raise my feet a little bit higher. In an ideal situation, if we're trying to increase range of motion and make it harder, my feet should really be above my head. And just adding cinder blocks are cheap as shit, man. I mean, the first time I got them, I didn't really know what to do with them. I bought them as almost like a belt squat, because I didn't know how to do leg stuff without actually having weights. It sucks so bad that I returned them, which was really embarrassing. Like to walk back in shame to not a Home Improvement, a Lowe's, and be like, can I even return this chipped piece of shit? But yeah, they take it back. They'll take anything back. They're whores. kind of, again, retroactively looking at this, I think I can cut my rest a little bit shorter since I'm spending so much time at the rows. It doesn't make a lot of sense to do a full, 30 whatever rest pause. Sense of there's so much time that goes between the rows and putting that little dingle dangle back on. Alright, so where are we at right now? I haven't been counting the reps. This got to be the last one. Yeah, I mean, like it's just even like tedious to watch. I can't justify resting more time here when the entire point of rest pause is to accumulate more volume in a shorter density block. So either I've just got to break it up into separate sets entirely, or the moment I'm done with rows, slap this baby back on and get back to it. Like, that's one rep. That's nothing. I don't know if it actually does anything. There's kind of mixed reviews on rest pause online, where the majority of like the quality reviews come back are less for like Dante Trudell style rest pause and more along the lines of like cluster training. But again, assuming the source, there's always someone with kind of something to sell in the background. It's been working for me so far, but it's one of those, I don't know if it's better than just flat out doing a single straight set to, failure -1 as opposed to 3 back-to-back. Yeah, so I just dropped the weight, and again, in retrospect, it feels like I'm going a full range of motion, but I've got another couple inches there that I don't think are gonna hurt anything. Yeah, so this was a little embarrassing. You see, I'm trying to add the band, and I don't really have an idea of how to do it. I just assumed this was gonna work, so I kind of lean. No, that's not working. Okay, lean. No, fuck me. All right. Yeah, I laugh because I know I'm getting filmed, and this isn't working yet. So I just kind of jump right into it. It works pretty well. And with this, which I found kind of retroactively as I tried out the next band, it doesn't really feel like it's doing anything until you really relax into the band and let it go its full range of motion. Even though at the very bottom, that's where it's helping out the most. Yeah, I felt like I went from fine to completely fucked on this one right here in like a length of half a rep. Like in this one, no. Yeah, right there. It was way harder than I was expecting after I kind of relaxed into the band. That's all I really wanted to do. I wasn't going to like stop down for actual push-ups. Now switching over to the pull. Again, this is anywhere from an hour and a half later in the day. I don't time it. Just shower, get dressed, coffee up, start working, and whenever it's going, then whenever I feel like I've got like a 2-3 minute break, I start some of these sets. Major difference between now and previous workouts is I'm starting with a harder variation, mainly offset pull-ups by adding additional towel, whereas I was pulling anywhere from 10 to 13 pull-ups body weight only, down to about 3 reps, so the difficulty's been increased pretty drastically. And when I get to actual body weight pull-ups, I got almost nothing left. Like both arms and grip is pretty burnt out. This is only week 1, so whatever, it'll increase pretty quickly, but it was pretty brutal this time around. Something I wanted to try out, which I'm about to get the little dingle dangle, instead of going to what's it called, like a jackknife pull-up or the rack pull-up, is doing more full-on vertical pulls, just adding a band to the bottom range of motion. So you'll see I added a different tensile band to each ring. First I got the orange band, so it's adding a little bit of help. I get a couple extra reps. Yeah, 3, 4. It's still pretty tough, man. I only got that much because it took so much time to get the bands on there to begin with. Second one is the big ass blue band, and this one adds quite a bit, but also by this point in time I got absolutely nothing left. And I felt like holding this one, it felt like I was holding it a lot longer than I actually did. I don't really know why I did that. I don't have a reason behind it, it just felt right. My back and biceps have been incredibly sore since then, but I don't know if that's just the inclusion of different types of pull-ups or those isometric holds up top. Don't really have anything for that. In either case, everything past this isn't really all that different. I really like these one-arm rows. I don't know why it looks so wonky from this angle. It may just be where I place a tripod. Beyond that, I placed the bag where the little sandbag was actually visible now a little bit lower, so you can actually, it's actually increasing the difficulty by quite a bit. And alright, so up to set 2. So the reason I'm doing these offset pull-ups, I mean, beyond just I wanted to give myself a harder variation, is eventually, you know, if we're talking about long-term skill development, I want to learn how to do muscle-ups and I want to learn how to do one-arm pull-ups, and this is a very basic progression towards getting the ladder set up. It is placing, I mean, instead of adding additional weight, I am changing my leverages so that the majority of the stress is on the arm that is on the ring, versus you've got the arm at the bottom of the towel just kind of helping out a little bit, which, while it certainly does help, it's not the same as a bodyweight pull-up, not even close. The next progression that I'd work on here, which I'm nowhere near, I mean, I definitely want to get up to the point where I'm regularly doing 10 pull-ups per arm. Kind of in a similar instance where I was with bodyweight pull-ups, is to use one of those bands instead of a towel for resistance, which that's real hard, man. I tried that once and it just did not happen whatsoever. Since a towel doesn't stretch, it provides a much more solid base, and anytime you have something a little bit more solid, it's going to give you a little bit more strength. So yeah, I thought with the last round of these I was going to toss out the 2-arm row, but it ended up feeling pretty good, and all things considered, when lowering the the sandbag, so I'm a little bit more horizontal to the ground than I was before, it ends up feeling like a pretty good set. Yeah, and after those rows, I didn't feel like anything else. I just went back to work. I don't know if the camera's wonky or if I'm wonky. It looked like I was kind of like coming up at an angle there. It feels good when I'm doing it. It feels like my arm and my ladder are completely stretched out when I'm trying to get up. I don't know if I should also like slow that down in general, what I'm doing, so I get a little bit more time under tension, because right now it feels like I'm just cascading down, and that's certainly what it looks like as well. Definitely a fan of adding bands to these pull-ups overall. I don't know why I didn't think of it before. I mean, I've got more bands too. It's not like I can't continue to add more tension, like 2 orange bands and 2 blue bands per ring. They're pretty easy to move out of the way when you're not using them. I do use those same bands a little bit later inside this same workout, but just for doing straight up curls instead of anything else. My wife just walked over and like eyeballed me. I mean, I am kind of like fisting this microphone in my face, so, you know, it's not a great look. This is still possible once I increase the difficulty of this exercise. Like you'll see, even compared to just like a week and a half ago, I'm barely getting any reps, and I don't know if that's because of everything I do up to that point, or because, I made a real show of the bands because I want to remember to do band curls. So something about this is that I thought that my face wasn't visible. Like, I don't know why, but like, I knew I was going to be making some ugly workout faces, and I just thought that I'd be cropped, but I'm not, and so it's kind of horrifying to see my face. Before I recorded the audio, I actually did a little crop of my own face, and you're going to see it in 3, 2, 1, crop. Yeah, just to get a nice little close-up of what that shit looks like, so I know to crop my face next time, because that's some Katniss Everdeen ugly cries level of gross there. No one wants to see that. Like full-on double chin contorting, looking at my face when you're pulling bands. I mean, it really is that hard. I'm not putting on a show. I know it's just curls, but it's essentially lactic acid filling up your arms, telling you to stop, and you're essentially doing somewhat cheat reps to get a couple more reps in with those things. I mean, I love it. I absolutely love band curls, and I don't feel like breaking anything else. There's just nothing else that I have that's a really good tool for that type of thing. Alright, so yeah, we're getting close to the end of these bodyweight pull sets. Even though I've got a lot of time, a lot of minutes in between each individual set, cumulative fatigue is getting pretty nasty. Doesn't matter how much you eat in between these, it's just you've been doing a lot of sets towards failure repeatedly throughout the day. It's gonna get pretty rough. There's that little lean to the right. I don't know if like my back's I don't notice it when I'm actually doing it. I can only see it inside the videos after the fact. It looks like I'm like scrunching my back up, and I have no idea why the fuck I do that. Like it doesn't hurt, but I'm moving like I'm hurt. I skipped the rows entirely. I just don't have it in me. And even like this basic bitch row is barely doable. Again, this was a great day. I mean, I'm doing this recording maybe 2 days later, and I'm still feeling a little bit of fatigue residual inside my back and my arms. I didn't even have it in me for the double band row. Face is just so ugly. Like, again, it's really hard. Like, I'm not hamming it up at all. You see that I'm holding the band in my other hand, and that's not just to make sure it doesn't dingle-dangle around. It's whenever I'm unable to do a full rep, I kind of assist with the other hand to allow myself to pull up the band all the way, and hold it for just a brief instant before letting it down. And the reason I like band so much is it's kind of like an endless drop set. You've got, whenever you can't do those regular reps or the cheat reps anymore, you just release a little bit of the band tension and grab higher up on the band. You can immediately do more reps. The only difference between that last set and this easy one with the basic bitch orange band is you'll see I'm kind of curling in towards my body because full-on hammer curls are a little bit too easy, and I never do any basic regular curl stuff. Yeah, am I looking at myself in the car mirror? That's rude. That's really rude. Don't do that. Yeah, likewise, I know I'm contorting my face, but I just thought that it wasn't on camera. Yeah, reps are just getting ugly at this point. I had no intention of trying to do a second one. Yeah, no, got nothing left. we're gonna end the audio recording here because I think this more or less is over. I mean, please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more workouts like this. I'm generally starting to record things going forward, so there should be at least 1 or 2 of these coming out a week. Yeah, that's about all we got.